Welcome to Game 1 of the 2002 World Series. We are in Anaheim, California. It's the Angels and the Giants. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Buck Tim McCarver. In just a moment, well, let's see what's going on here. The Angels are in the World Series for the first time in franchise history, a history that dates back to 1961. While on the other side, the Giants are trying to win their first World Championship since they moved out west in 1958. Their last World Series win, 1954. I welcome in my friend, my partner, Tim McCarver, and I think these fans are ready. It's been a while since they've been able to have these kind of dreams around here. These fans are loud and ready to go.
How appropriate! All throughout the game, you will be hearing those thunder sticks, and it's appropriate because those are the types of sticks the Angels have been swinging thus far. A .328 team average through the 9 games to get them here, and 2 different 10-hit innings. It's only been done one other time, and that was in 1929.
But this place is going to go crazy when the Angels take the field. They're not supposed to be here, say the baseball experts. They're a wild card team. They weren't supposed to beat the New York Yankees. Well, they beat them. They ended up taking care of the Minnesota Twins, and here they are in the World Series, led by manager Mike Scioscia. And Washburn says, let's go. Jared Washburn at one point won 15 of 16 decisions. Here's the lineup for Dusty Baker that he put together for Game 1. Kenny Lofton, Rich Aurelia, and Jeff Kent, the top 3. In the middle, Barry Bonds with help behind him from Santiago. Reggie Sanders is batting the number 6 spot. JT Snow's been big in the postseason. Then it's David Bell, and Tsuyoshi Shinjo is making his first start of the postseason for the Giants. And we look at the left-hander Jared Washburn, who has done this in the postseason.
In the tiny hamlet of Webster, Wisconsin, there is a sign outside town that says, home of Jared Washburn, professional baseball pitcher. And is he ever a professional baseball pitcher? Great game awareness. Mike Scioscia doesn't have to give step-offs or throw-over with Jared Washburn. Finger pressure, changes speeds on his fastball, and a dominant fly ball pitcher.
Let's go back to Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. Kenny Lofton, who will lead it off here tonight, got the game-winning hit. Did it make you think at all of the 1951 call? Giants radio announcer Russ Hodges. He was the Giants announcer from 1949 to 1970. Worked with Ernie Harwell in the New York Giants booth from 1950 to 1953. Did it make you think at all of saying that when you saw David Bell round third base and go hand first across the plate?
I remember listening to that game in 1951 as a 10-year-old with my father. It brought back a lot of memories.
This World Series broadcast is being heard in Spanish through the length and breadth of the continents of North and South America via our colleagues at Fox Sports en Espanol here in the USA and Fox Sports Latin America.
Let me correct that. I was not 10 years old 5 days ago when David Bell slid into home when the Giants won the LCS.
But you were back in 1951.
In 51, right.
Away we go. Pitch 1, World Series, strike 1. Kenny Lofton hitting .293 this postseason. 1 ball, 1 strike, 92 miles per hour from Washburn, who was bothered by the flu bug earlier in the week. Here's a 1-1 pitch. A little low, 2 balls and a strike. The Angels, who came roaring into this World Series under Mike Scioscia, just hitting everything in sight, pounding the baseball, pitching well, bullpen great. To a man, publicly, they'll tell you they didn't mind the 6-day layoff. But you know, after catching their breath, these Angels wanted to pick right back up and get back on the field and start swinging the bats again. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Lofton leading off. Full count.
The long layoffs for both teams will affect the starting pitchers more than anybody, and Jared Washburn, sure enough, coming out and being wild high in the strike zone. Lofton will get a fastball right here.
On 3-2 to start the night, and it's fouled out of play. Because Washburn is a high fastball type pitcher, Shinjo is in the lineup tonight, which is a bit of a surprise. And he's in the lineup and DHing as Kenny Lofton asked Dusty Baker not to DH him. 1 out.
And Lofton helps him out. This fastball, shoulder high, ball 4, but it's strike 3. As Lofton goes for a bad one, and something like that can work in Washburn's favor, pressing him down in the strike zone.
So Washburn, who won 18 games during the regular season, is making his 4th postseason start. All of them obviously coming this October. We'll deal with Rich Aurelia. Aurelia's driven in 12 runs in the postseason for the Giants. Going bunt, taking strike 1. Went after a high delivery, and Aurelia pops it up left side. Eckstein and Gloss nearly come together. Gloss ends up with it. You can see both were calling for it. Now I would imagine down on the floor of this place with this much noise, it's hard to hear.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon, Joe. You said that ball to Aurelia was out of the strike zone. It was high, about shoulder high, similar to the pitch to Lofton. And when in doubt, let the taller guy have it. That's Gloss.
And there is no doubt as to who the taller guy would be in this case.
That's right.
And the tale of the tape between Troy Gloss and David Eckstein is the stuff that Vince McMahon dreams of. Kent with 2 out, nobody on. Bonds on deck. Kent has done very little in this postseason. That's putting it mildly. I would guarantee you that Giants fans coming into this postseason would never believe that the Giants would get this far to the World Series with Jeff Kent hitting .263 with 1 RBI and only 2 extra base hits.
Reggie Sanders with 1 RBI. So between Kent and Sanders, 2 RBIs in the 10 games thus far the Giants have played.
Washburn throwing hard, 93 miles per hour. It's been a lot of fastballs here in the first inning, and the count 1-2. Look at these follow-throughs from Washburn. I mean, he is trying to throw the ball as hard as he has ever dreamed of throwing the baseball.
And that's certainly understandable. First inning of the World Series.
Jared Washburn in the first inning was trying to throw the ball as hard as Jason Schmidt throws the ball. Take a look at the starting lineup for the Anaheim Angels. It will be Eckstein, then Erstad, then Tim Salmon, Garrett Anderson, Troy Gloss, and Brad Fulmer in the middle. And the bottom 3, Spezio, Molina, and Adam Kennedy, who was the ALCS MVP.
Tony La Russa said that Wade Miller of the Houston Astros pitched the best game against the Cardinals this year. Jason Schmidt was a very close second. He must throw the fastball early in the count and improve changeup, but the danger, he also can be wild with the fastball.
Eckstein starts with strike one. How good was Jason Schmidt in Game 2 of the National League Championship Series? The Cardinals to a man said it didn't matter what we did, who pitched for us, we were not going to win that game. And he ended up 1 out shy of getting through 8. And Eduardo Perez home run chased him, struck out 8, walked only 1, and that walk category is a key for Jason Schmidt. Left field, Bonds, 1 out. Bonds was creeping in, playing Eckstein shallow, and it paid off.
A lot of outfielders will do that with 2 strikes on a hitter. They cheat a step or 2 in, knowing that a hitter, particularly like Eckstein, is not going to be swinging from his heels.
So Bonds takes care of out number 1 in the bottom of the first, and Darren Erstad will step in. Erstad from Firegold. Here's a guy who had 240 hits back in the year 2000, and in this postseason is hitting .390. As a team, the Angels are hitting .328. And they're averaging over 8 runs a game. Here's an 0-1 to Erstad. A splitter that missed, and the count 1 ball 1 strike.
The energy of the Angels collectively comes from this man at the plate right here. It's an old Joe Torre line. How are you intense without being tense?
Off the hand, shallow left, and plenty of time for Bonds. 2 up, 2 down. Tim Salmon was the longest tenured big leaguer who had never been in a postseason prior to this October. He spent his entire career with the Angels. His thoughts.
It's just been awesome to be with one organization from the ground up, being drafted A-ball all the way through, and just all the people I've known in this organization, and just to be able to be a part of that team that could say that we set out to accomplish this, and we actually did it.
Up in 1992, 1,388 games leading into this October. They call him Kingfish around here, and he bats with 2 out, strike 1. So there's that 97-mile-an-hour reading from Jason Schmidt that we saw pitch after pitch, even in the 8th inning of Game 2 of the NLCS.
Early in this ball game, I don't think you'll see either side pulling a lot of pitches off Washburn or Schmidt, throwing too hard.
There's one off to the opposite field, out of play. No balls, 2 strikes.
Joe, you talked about Salmon coming up in 1992. He was signed in 1989, and some major league teams didn't pay as much attention to him as perhaps they should have because of his stance. And he still has that stance that he had when he signed. It's almost like he's sitting on an invisible chair.
Here's an 0-2 from Schmidt. Good start for Jason Schmidt. Runs right through the Angels. 1-2-3. 2 little fly balls to left, and his first strikeout of the night. Game 1, inning 1, history, no score. Love him or not, it's a good day in baseball when Major League Baseball's best player gets a chance to play in the World Series. His first World Series at bat. The Angels early will come after Barry Bonds when the situation dictates it. And this situation dictates Washburn challenging Barry Bonds as much as he can. That just missed, and the count 2 balls, no strikes. On 2-0. 2-1. Defensively, Tim, we see Gloss basically shading up the middle like a shortstop. You see Eckstein over playing a regular second base, and Tim just circled Adam Kennedy, who's playing shallow right. It's like a softball defense for Bonds. And that's crushed into right field. First World Series at bat, home run Bonds. 1-0 San Francisco. Baseball royalty circles the bases in the second. You can shift all you want, Tim McCarver, but you can't shift for that.
You can't play that high.
Goodness, that ball was absolutely smoked. A no-doubter into the seats in right.
After 17 years, one swing, Giants up.
Here's Santiago up there swinging away, strike one.
Mercer.
The man who resides in the number 4 spot on the all-time home run list with 613 gets his 5th of this postseason. He came in with only 1 in his career. Santiago, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Jared Washburn being quoted as saying, hey, I'm going to throw Barry Bonds strikes, pitch him like a tough left-handed hitter. If he hits one, so be it. Well, so be it.
1-0 Giants on Barry Bonds. Leadoff home run here in the second. On 1-2, Santiago reaches for it. Bloss. 1 out.
Bonds missed that 2-0 fastball around the letters, but he does not miss this. 73 last year, 46 this year. That does not include 4 in the postseason. That part of the plate, that part of the bat, boom.
Oh my God! Way to go,
Gene Klein's the hitting coach for Dusty Baker. Enjoying every inch that thing traveled into right. Now with 1 out, here's Reggie Sanders, who had a miserable NLCS, only 1 out of 16. But Dusty Baker right back to him in Game 1 of the World Series, hitting 147 overall in the postseason. 1 out, nobody on, a run home. That's pretty well hit into right field. It'll send Salmon back at the wall. Home run, Reggie Sanders, 2-0 Giants. Reggie Sanders, a world champion last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, gets his first of the postseason, and it's 2-0 San Francisco.
He is the only player on either side to have played in a World Series last year. Sitting out Game 7. Low fastball. That's his power. 2-0 Giants, who were second in the National League in home runs with 198.
Now it's JT Snow, the former Angel, who takes a strike over the outside part of the plate. 3rd in the career for Reggie Sanders as he goes deep. Hard to believe, but the Angel pitching staff had not allowed a home run in 49 innings. You have to go back to the 5th inning, the division series, Game 4 against the Yankees. Jorge Posada hit one. And now the Giants strike for 2 in the 1st inning of Game 1 of the World Series. Two who did it. Bonds and Sanders. Snow. 2-2. JT Snow, a 6-time Gold Glove Award winner. Traded from the Angels to the Giants for the '97 season. Alan Watson came the Angels' way in that trade. The 2-2. Good swing. Still 2-2.
As a youngster, J.T. Snow used to come out here at the Big A, as it was then called, and watch Wally Joyner, Wally World, back in 1986, in that devastating loss to the Boston Red Sox in Game 5 by the Angels that year.
That's out of play. Snow can even go back to the '79 season, the Yes We Can chance, when the Angels lost to Baltimore in the ALCS. His dad Jack played wide receiver for the Rams, now broadcast for the Rams, and lives in St. Louis. And it's the first NFL Major League Baseball father-son combination. That's to the right side. That's Adam Kennedy to his left. 2 out. What kind of a year has it been for the Angels starter Jared Washburn? It has been a career year for a 28-year-old left-hander. 18 wins, a 3.15 ERA, over 200 innings pitched. He won 12 straight from the middle part of April to the middle part of July. And so far, a 2.84 ERA this postseason. That was coming into tonight. That changes now with a 2 runs home for the Giants in the second, and Bell hits it hard for right at Bloss. Well, the Giants jump on top. Who else would you expect? Things have changed for Barry Bonds. All anybody could talk about was that he didn't respond in the postseason. He has responded. So have the Giants. Game 1, they lead 2-0. We move to the bottom of the second. The Angels bat down 2-0. Garrett Anderson up there ready to swing, and you better be against Jason Schmidt. 95 miles an hour, strike 1. Anderson, Gloss, and Fulmer. Left, right, left for Schmidt. And Mike Scioscia calls Garrett Anderson, GA, the best kept secret in baseball. That's going to slide out of play in the count 0-2.
We were kidding with that music after the Barry Bonds home run. There is no player on either team that has such regal carriage that Garrett Anderson has.
He waits for an 0-2 pitch. 98, Jason Schmidt. Jason has been through a rough year. It's been a good year on the field. It has been tough for the 29-year-old off the field. Anderson strikes out on the forkball. Good start for Schmidt. How about the start for Jared Washburn, who talked it over with his pitching coach Bud Black between innings?
Ball's hit pretty good. It's hit pretty good. Oh, yeah? Yeah, it's okay. It's a good sinker. Yeah, that sink? The one he hit out? The Sanders? Oh, no. Oh, Bonds? Yeah. One from outside. It's all right. Hey, good hitter. Sanders down the way, huh? Just went out and got it? Yeah.
A bit understated in the dugout. He's a good hitter.
Yeah.
I say Bonds is a good hitter. Hit .370 during the regular season. And an obvious first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best ever. Where does he rank on your list? I don't know if I've ever asked you that. I don't know if I want to ask you that with that reaction I just got out of you.
I don't know if I can answer that right now. 142 home runs behind Henry Aaron.
Ross, nasty pitch. No balls, 2 strikes, and we were talking about it before the game. 2 years ago, when people talked about the all-time home run record held by Hank Aaron, you thought, well, Bonds will be too old to eventually break that. You can't say that anymore. You can't. I mean, he's 38 doing things that you can't imagine. A guy who hit 73 last year at the age of 37 and hit .370 and was a batting champ for the first time in his career, and the first time for the Giants since they moved to the Bay. The all-time home run leaders, Aaron, Ruth, Mays, the godfather of the next guy, Barry Bonds, with 613.
Oldest player in National League history to win a batting title.
See that bottom note, 119 home runs the last 2 seasons. With 1 out and 0-2 count, Gloss steps out. With the way Bonds has maintained his body, him hitting in that ballpark, I don't know that doesn't make it even more difficult. Yet here's a guy who set the all-time single-season home run mark by hitting 73 home runs, calling Pac-Bell his home stadium.
A lot of his Giant teammates said that had he not played in Pac-Bell last year, he would have hit 90 home runs.
No balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. And Gloss gets into one to left. At the wall, it's 2-1.
It's a misconception, even for baseball people, to think that home runs come mostly on fastballs. Most of them come on hanging breaking balls. Remember that scouting report note that Schmidt must use his fastball early in the game, and Gloss burns him on the hanging slider.
How often do you see the best swings in baseball, the prettiest swings, are by left-handed batters? Troy Gloss has a pretty fluid, even swing for a right-handed batter, and that was crunched into left field.
Every home run has meant something. Game 1 of the divisional series tied the game. His second one put the Angels ahead.
Fulmer takes ball 1.
Then in game 2 against the Yankees, home run put the Angels ahead to stay. Game 3 of the LCS, bottom of the 8th, won the game against the Twins. And another key home run for Gloss.
1 out, nobody on. Fulmer, 1 ball, 1 strike. To talk about the Giants situation, trying to do what they've done throughout this postseason. That is, get on the board early. Not only in the game, but winning games. They did it against Atlanta. They won the first 2 games in St. Louis in the NLCS. Fulmer gets a base hit through the right side. And the tying run is on for the Angels here in the second. Scott Spezio, lead singer for the band Sandfrog. The name of their CD, Big League Rocks. And Scott Spezio has rocked this season and this postseason, hitting .375 for the Angels with 11 RBIs.
He is a bit critical of his voice with the Sandfrogs, but nobody is critical of his play with the Angels.
1 on, 1 out. And a check on Fulmer. We were talking about Jason Schmidt and the year that he's been through on the field, a 13-game winner. A terrific start in game 2 of the NLCS in St. Louis, but his 52-year-old mother diagnosed with brain cancer during spring training. She is here watching Jason pitch as he misses low with ball 1.
Flying down from Longview, Oregon, about 40 minutes north of Portland. Her husband Ray, and as Joe said, Vicky, here at the game this evening.
A 1-0. Into center field for Lofton. 2 out.
There are only a few pitchers in baseball who can challenge hitters with fastballs and still get them out. Jason Schmidt's one of them. Spezio looking for the fastball right down the pipe. And there's not that click that comes off when you hit the ball real well. It's that thud.
Not a blink from Lofton as the ball found his glove in center, and now with a runner at first, 2 out. Here's the catcher, Benji Molina. Runner going. Throw by Santiago from his knees. Too late.
Joe Madden, who is the bench coach for Mike Scioscia, says that Brad Fulmer, for his speed, is the Angels' best base runner. And that looked as though Aurelia may have made the tag on the shoulder before he touched the bag. That top foot may have gone over the bag, tagged on the shoulder. He was out.
But called safe, and a hit could tie the game here in the second. On the outside corner, it's 0-2 on Molina.
A lot of times, second base umpire, he'll say if the right leg or the lead leg beats the ball, then he's safe. And that was a shot Tim Tashida had there, but he was out. That right leg going above the bag, and the trail leg was late.
Molina, pretty good rip on 0-2. What he's done in the postseason, 4 RBIs, an average of 241. During the regular year, drove home 47.
By the way, I said Longview, Oregon. I meant Longview, Washington. They abut one another, Washington and Oregon.
Read that.
Yeah.
And 0-2 from Schmidt. We have seen Molina. You and I have done a couple of Angels games in the postseason. You've done, I think, one more than I have. Battle when he gets 2 strikes, as well as anybody battles a pitcher in this Angels lineup.
Yeah, it's kind of a trademark of this Angels lineup. They struck out the fewest times of any major league team.
And 0-2. That missed outside. John Travolta telling Tim Allen that the 805 strikeouts, as you said, were the lowest in baseball, and I guess DeVito's giving signals to Molina, who's at the plate.
Old third base coach.
We must be near L.A.
Not far.
Two balls, 2 strikes is a 98-mile-per-hour pitch missed high. Adam Kennedy, the league's best number 9 hitter, waits on deck. So here's your battle. Molina trying to hit a mistake from Schmidt. It was 0-2, now the 2-2. Molina's worked it full.
Not good pitch selection on the part of Santiago. Catchers are trained on that 2-2 count to throw the pitch. The pitcher gets over the best. Jason Schmidt, once again, his best pitch is the fastball, and you've got to challenge Molina here.
Into left field, well hit. Bonds back. Inning over. Molina hit it hard, but Bonds back to get it. In the inning, a Troy Glass home run. 3 home runs in this game. Bonds, Sanders, Glass after 2. 2-1 Giants. Shinjo will lead off for San Francisco as we move to the 3rd inning. It's 2-1. The Giants on top. Home runs by Bonds and Sanders. Solo home runs. And then for the Angels, Glass hit a 1-out shot in the second. A strike from Washburn. The reason Shinjo is in the lineup is for pitches in that vicinity. He just took a high strike from Washburn. Good pitch as Washburn kept it down 0-2. Shinjo had only 1 at bat coming into this World Series in the postseason, and he lost his job when the Giants picked up Lofton as one of the uglier third-inning pitches in World Series history was delivered by Washburn for ball one.
Jarrett threw that breaking ball about 54 feet. Bounces about 6 feet in front of home plate. A pitcher, what happens there is he grips it too tightly. Just a curveball that was gripped too tightly. Choked, went right down on the ground.
So the 1-2. It's out of play.
It's almost like a quarterback grounding the ball.
Well, it's a bad sign when the pitch doesn't catch dirt. It hit back in the grass. Our Sprint Virtual Manager question: who's going to win the World Series? Those are the results. As Shinjo takes it up and in, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mike Scioscia, fired by the Dodgers after managing the AAA club in Albuquerque 4 years ago. Shinjo strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Washburn.
You can see Molina setting up inside. The fastball gets Shinjo. Good 4-seam fastball to get the designated hitter.
Guys seem to get labeled as far as managers. Are you a players type manager? Are you the thinking type manager that's looking at all the matchups and worrying about statistics? I think you can make a mistake if you label Scioscia just a fun, easygoing players manager. Tommy Lasorda, part of the Dodger organization, obviously managed Mike Scioscia, part of the front office when the decision to let Scioscia go was made. But when you sit down and talk with Mike Scioscia about the Bonds' presence in the Giants lineup and what he likes to do with his late inning relievers, he has thought every possibility out. Very impressive to sit down and pick his brain a little bit.
It really is only his 3rd year as manager of the Angels. From Upper Darby, PA. Used to go to the Phillies games in the early 70s. He saw Steve Carlton win 7 games the year Carlton won 27 in 72.
Lofton hits one in the air into right center field. Got under it. Erstad. 2 out. Dusty Baker played with Mike Scioscia with the Dodgers from 1980 to 1983. And these are the numbers that the two put up while wearing the Dodger blue. As far as a defensive catcher, Mike Scioscia was one of the best of his era.
He was the Rock of Gibraltar guarding the plate. Nobody today blocked the plate like Mike Scioscia did for the Dodgers for such a long time.
Scioscia was a young player when he came up, and Dusty Baker made an immediate impression on him. Aurelia hits one off the helmet of Molina, strike 1. When Dusty Baker would tell him, look, you're messing with my postseason share.
Messing with my money.
Messing with my money. You play the game the right way. And that's how Dusty Baker was taught by his father, Johnny B. Baker Sr. Dusty telling us before the game, his dad cut him from his Little League team 3 times. All 3 times it had nothing to do with ability, but it had to do with attitude. Throwing a helmet, stepping on his glove, walking away and quote-unquote quitting on his team. Dusty's dad said, go play for someone else.
Play the game the right way, his dad taught him.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Aurelia. Another one that barely caught the dirt if it did. And Molina looks like Grant Fuhrer behind the plate.
Well, you might say, why not bail out on a ball like this? But there are 2 strikes on Aurelia. If you get a half swing or something, you endeavor to keep the ball out in front. It hit the padded area right on the tip of the right shoulder, but Molina all right.
You didn't have that.
No,
that
we have smaller protectors, smaller masks, smaller shin guards.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Aurelia. To the left side, Eckstein. Giants go in order. The Angels with Kennedy, Eckstein, Erstad coming up 2-1 San Francisco. Bud Black talking about those ugly pitches that Washburn just threw.
Hey, there's the deal. You're changing their eye level. It's the other way. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of guys do it up here.
Yeah.
You like to do it down there.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, because I always throw up, so I want to make sure they see them down.
Kennedy into right field. Back at the wall. Sanders will watch it bang off the scoreboard out there and back into second base as Kennedy, who hit 3 home runs in the clinching Game 5 of the ALCS, I guess wasn't bothered by the 6-day layoff. He almost ties the game with the first swing of the 3rd inning.
What in the world is going on, says the rest of the American League. Adam Kennedy only had 7 home runs all year. He hit 3 in the clinching game and just misses this one by about a foot from going out. Man.
A leadoff double now. Eckstein shows bunt, drops it down. 5. Adam Kennedy 5 for his last 5 in the postseason. 3 home runs, a double, a single. And you said a foot. It was just about a foot from leaving the park. If that. So the Angels got him on in a game they play in batting practice. Get him over, get him in. Showing bunt and swinging on a nasty pitch from Schmidt, and the count 0-2.
He was almost out of the batter's box, running up against Schmidt. Showing bunt. Almost. Watch the left foot. It's in fair territory. If he makes contact, you could make a case that he could be called out.
Now the 0-2. You see Eckstein trying to hit the ball to the right side.
David says his biggest thrill is a 12-pitch at bat. He's had 3 so far.
He'll trade in the pitch count right now for the production of getting Kennedy over to 3rd, if not drive him in. 2-1 Giants, 3rd inning. Here's pitch number 4. His nickname, how about that? Drove his sister's old used car this season. So Christine, from the bottom of David's heart, thanks for the ride. Trying to hit to right, and he hit it into the Giants dugout. Dusty took a dive. To the right side, Eckstein does his job. 1 out. What a good at bat for the 5'6½" shortstop David Eckstein.
Tenacious at bat. Even on the inside fastball, he pushes one to the right side. The types of at bats that the Angels fans are becoming used to in the postseason. Great job.
Tying run at 3rd, 1 out, and Schmidt would like to find his 3rd strikeout of the night. Erstad, the red hot Darren Erstad, 381 in the postseason, to tie the game with a number of things as the infield, with the exception of Bell, lays back. They'll give up the run. Ball 1.
You don't have to get as good a jump if you're on 3rd with 1 out and the infield back. What you do have to determine on a ground ball, whether a pitcher can make the play or whether a third baseman can make the play. Everybody else is back.
.63% of runners scored this season in this situation, best in the majors for the Angels. Man on third, less than 2 out. Erstad with a count even now at a ball and a strike. Good pitch on the inside corner, strike 2, 98.
Location and power, this is the best pitch Schmidt has made so far. Schmidt with 12 wild pitches on the season. Third in the National League, something to be aware of if you're the runner on third.
Two out. Erstad chased it. 97 miles per hour from Schmidt, and he does find his third strikeout of the night.
After the inside fastball, the shoulder high fastball gets Erstad. Schmidt has been hurt on 2 breaking balls. One to Gloss, one to Kennedy.
For the Angels, it's up to Salmon, who struck out his first time, to end the first. Kennedy a leadoff double. He's at third with 2 out. Ball 1.
Talk about that invisible chair on which Salmon is sitting. Not quite as drastic as Jeff Bagwell of the Astros, but close.
He has a seat and waits for a 1-0 pitch. Into shallow center, Lofton is there. And the Angels waste a leadoff double. It's a 2-1 San Francisco lead. 4th inning rolls in. So will Bonds do up second. Here. Leading it off, Jeff Kent. Kent, Bonds, and Santiago in the 4th inning. 2-1 San Francisco on home runs by Bonds and Sanders in the 2nd. And off the hands, 89 miles per hour from Washburn, 0-1.
As you said earlier, we are near Los Angeles.
We are. Yes. There's no telling who's going to show up. Jim Edmonds has shown up. His fiancee Paige, former Angel, who was traded for Adam Kennedy and Kent Bottenfield. That was really the first major acquisition that Bill Stoneman, the GM, made out here after he was hired. Hired in November of '99, and Edmonds made the trade look terrific for St. Louis after the deal was made with what he's done in a Cardinal uniform. But Kennedy is starting to balance the trade with what he's done this season, this postseason. 1 out. That'll bring in Barry Bonds for the bases empty.
All fastballs the first time around. Washburn misses high, he misses low. Watch this swing. Just missed it. He doesn't miss this one.
And that's not too dissimilar to the home run that he hit off Finley. A pitch that was not as far up and in, but Bonds with that amazing ability to keep the ball fair as he takes a strike. That one had a wrinkle on the end of it.
How about that playful look on Washburn's face when he saw the ball leave the ballpark?
1 ball, 1 strike. Gene Kleins, you heard his reaction the first time. I wonder if he's cleared his throat for the second at bat for Bonds. And if Barry Bonds will get a chance to swing at something that's any good from Washburn, it's 2-1.
The one thing that Barry Bonds has done, he has made big league meetings shorter over the last 2 years. Because when they get to him, nobody knows how to pitch him, so you just skip over it. Guys just hit the field a little earlier.
Well, we've seen the early approach from Washburn. And Mike Scioscia said before the game that early in the game we will come after Barry Bonds, and he's done it in his first 2 at-bats.
That's one of those twisters off the glove of Benji Molina. Home plate umpire Jerry Crawford giving Molina a break. A lot of times when it's off the mitt like that, the fat part of the mitt, you don't think it hurts. But this ball bending the middle fingers of Molina's hands back. The left hand.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball missed, full count. Washburn's come after him twice. Bonds won once, and now Jared Washburn wins the battle.
There is a big difference between a fastball down the middle of the plate and one up and in. Washburn wins this battle. That's the one thing you don't do, Joe. You don't see Barry Bonds swinging many bad pitches. You don't see him check swing. 198 walks this year, 14 in the postseason.
Tony La Russa said before the NLCS that one of the knocks on Ted Williams was that he didn't expand his zone, or against a shift didn't push the ball to the left side, as that ball's going to fall in. Tony La Russa then, in a comment that he made, said Barry Bonds may have to expand his zone if he wants to hit home runs in the series. He expanded his zone and hit a home run against Chuck Finley in Game 3 of the NLCS, but realized that Ted Williams back in 1946 did push a bunt to the left side of the field that rolled all the way into left field when playing the Cardinals in the World Series that year. It didn't help, though, as Ted Williams hit only 200 for that fall classic.
Ted Williams talked to Ty Cobb in the lobby of the Commodore Hotel, which is now the Grand Hyatt in New York, and asked if he should hit the ball through the left side. Cobb said absolutely. He tried it a couple of times. Finally, he said, I'll just hit it through him.
There's ball 1 up and into Reggie Sanders, who went down and got a pitch for a home run into right his first time up.
You could hear that sound bite from Bud Black and Washburn agreeing that that was a pretty good pitch. It's a pretty good pitch on most hitters, but not Reggie Sanders. He hits the low fastball better than the high one.
Go back to the home run. Low fastball, opposite field home run. First home run and only the second RBI of the postseason for Sanders. A 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes, with the left hand hitting JT Snow on deck.
You notice the grip before that last pitch. That was the grip of a 4-seam fastball. A 4-seam fastball is thrown harder. A 2-seam fastball has more movement. That's a 4-seam fastball grip.
Sanders steps out and Washburn steps off. 4 strikeouts for Washburn. No walks. 3 hits allowed.
1. A 4-seam fastball to Sanders.
Santiago's not going anywhere. Spezio off the bag. And Santiago with a minuscule lead.
Not a good running situation. A lot of managers do that. 3-1 with 2 outs. You're compelled to run 3-2. Not here.
And and a walk. Puts 2 on with 2 out. So Washburn issues his first walk of the night. J.T. Snow, who grew up in nearby Los Alamitos and used to sneak into Angel games when he was a kid, and not only sneak in but sneak down for better seats, and was chased away by the usher, only to end up in another section down lower than he should have been. Tries to come up with a hit against the Angels with 2 on 2 out here in the 4th. 2-1 Giants, game 1. Ball 1. Snow, a big reason why the Giants are here in the World Series. It's 2-0 as Washburn falls behind Snow with a right-handed hitting David Bell on deck.
Left-handed hitters do not start against left-handed pitchers. There's a reason for that. They don't hit left-handers as well. So therefore, if you're thinking right now, your thinking should be to challenge Snow and don't wait until Bell gets up there.
Challenged him. 2 balls and a strike. Snow, who ditched switch hitting back in '99. Lefty on lefty and couldn't catch up.
Under the fastball.
With 2 on 2 out. It's 3-1 on Snow.
JT with good power to left field. A key double in game 4 against the Cardinals to tie it for the Giants.
A 3-1 pitch. It's full and the runners will go.
Another fastball. Under another fastball.
Out of play. Fans will wake up tomorrow wondering why their forearms hurt after spending the night in game 1 here at Anaheim.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. 2-1 Giants. Another foul.
You can see that stroke, that left field stroke. Most left-handers have that little loop in their swings. So Washburn getting the fastball by Snow.
Good battle between J.T. Snow and Jared Washburn. They're loaded. Back-to-back walks after a 2-out hit by Santiago. Sanders drew a walk. Now the lefty Snow really worked for that walk. And David Bell, who's one of the most overlooked players on this Giants team, but a guy who's been right in the middle of all the action for San Francisco this postseason, will bat with the bases loaded, 2 out.
What a terrific at bat by JT Snow, fouling off 4 pitches and then taking the high fastball. Concerning David Bell, he was second on the Giants with 2-out RBIs this year. 30 of them he had. Second to who else but Barry Bonds.
So far this postseason, hitless, 8 tries with the bases loaded. 4 runs have scored for San Francisco. 2 out in the inning. Foul. David Bell, who's bounced around in his career. 1 point put on waivers by St. Louis, claimed by Cleveland, an organization he grew up in. Grew up in Ohio as well. Been with Seattle and now with San Francisco. To the right side and playable at the moment. Salmon turning over. Fair ball as it was caught by Tim Salmon. Jared Washburn getting the start in game 1. Two to 1, bottom of the 4th. The 2 guys who've been talking at you for the last hour and a half, not the only ones who thought that was a good at bat by Snow.
Good pitch to Sanders. Snow's the guy you wanted. He had a good at bat. Yeah. He had a good at bat. Got to give him credit. Right. That away. Good pitch to Benito. Yeah.
Garrett Anderson chased a fork ball from Schmidt. Anderson, Gloss, and Fulmer. Anybody gets on Spezio for the Angels, who were down 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th.
You could hear Washburn saying good pitch to Benito. He did make a good pitch. Jammed him. He plopped it in front.
Anderson, base hit. Sanders with a good play to get it back in and hold Anderson to a leadoff single.
Major league hitters have a new term that's evolved over the last 3 years. It's called raking. Where do you rake? Obviously, mostly leaves down, and that ball was raked to left, about 6 inches off the ground.
See the reaction from Schmidt. It's like he hit that.
That ball down and in. All a left-hander has to do is drop the bat head on it.
Here's Gloss, who homered his first time up. Ball 1.
Last time up, the tale of 2 pitches. Home run ball here. Strike here.
On the outside corner, good pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brad Fulmer, the DH, waits on deck. First 3 combined hits tonight, all home runs. And that's the first time in World Series history. Bonds, Sanders, and Gloss.
Reminiscent of the 1995 All-Star game, when the National League beat the American League with 3 solo home runs. And those are the only hits the National League had that evening in Texas.
Two balls and a strike. Ross has had 3 straight years of 30 or more home runs. He's only 26 years old. Former shortstop at UCLA. Popped up on the infield. Kent takes care of out number 1. Anderson aboard at Brad Fulmer, who singled and stole a base. Waits for the first pitch from Schmidt. Off his hand, still a pretty good swing. 95 miles an hour, strike 1.
Off the fists. Is that our first live look at the Rally Monkey?
It's 4th inning.
A little early.
You're not allowed to talk about it until later in the game.
Okay.
For the sake of this country.
All things great and small.
I am sure that before the end of this World Series, we will have had our monkey fill. 1 on, 1 out. No balls, 1 strike. On the outside corner. It's not just a free-for-all monkey fest here. I mean, there are rules. These are the regulations. The monkey must sit still while the Angels are pitching. Allowed in the 6th inning or later only. At least 1 Angel must reach base before any rally monkey. That's it. Until later. No balls, 2 strikes. Fulmer. 1 on, 1 out. 2-1 Giants, 4th inning. One and 2.
Good splitter there to Brad Fulmer. Gary Matthews, who's the pitching coach of the Milwaukee Brewers this year, used to be an announcer for Toronto, and he used to kid Brad Fulmer all the time because of his intensity, call him Mad Brad.
Mad Brad hit 32 home runs for Toronto back in 2000. 19 during the regular season this year, but had a red-hot September. Bouncer from Schmidt.
What a play by Santiago. Check this out. See that right knee of Santiago? He has a very difficult time getting down on it because of the car accident that he had in 1998. Lacerations on the right leg, laid up for about 3.5 months. So he can't block pitches like that, but he does a good job catching them, as he just showed.
A 2-2 pitch to Fulmer. 2 out. Just powdered past the Angel DH. 96 for strikeout number 4 for Schmidt.
Yeah, when you look at Jason Schmidt, he doesn't have to be as fine as a guy like Jared Washburn or most major league pitchers, because he has the stuff to throw a fastball right down the pipe, as he did just then.
That'll bring in Scott Spezio, a leadoff hit by Anderson. He hasn't moved. A leadoff double in the 3rd inning for Kennedy, and he only moved up 1 space, only to 3rd base. That's it. And it's still 2-1 Giants. We're in the 4th. Ball 1. Well, what did you decide? What is the most memorable moment in Major League Baseball history? Watch Game 4 of the World Series on Fox to find out. The most memorable moments are presented by MasterCard. Don't miss it. It'll be in San Francisco. And a matchup of John Lackey and Kirk Reeder. Good pitch from Schmidt. Splitter for a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
This is nasty right here. That's the thing. When you're talking about Schmidt, unless he's throwing his breaking ball, he doesn't have to be down in the strike zone. Throw the ball right over the heart of the plate.
Anderson doesn't do a ton of running during the regular season. Attempted only 10 stolen bases and was successful 6 times. Spezio came in hitting .375 this postseason. Able to lay off 2-1.
Most pitchers pitch to the glove, to a small target. Santiago wants to talk perhaps about that. But what Jason Schmidt does, because of his power and because of his ability to get away with most pitches, throws to a bigger target. The 2 shin guards and the 2 shoulder tips. Now that was a splitter, the last pitch, but you get the idea. When he throws his fastball, he doesn't have to be real fine. Just throw to the body of Santiago and not the glove.
One splitter after another in the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was nasty. Ooh. Got the spin of a ball. A splitter has no spin, but almost always when it's a strike, it's rarely a taken strike, but usually when it's a strike, a hitter will swing over it, as Spezio did.
Into the corner, and Anderson is on the move. He will hold at third on a double by Spezio. Second and third, 2 out.
Reggie Sanders looked at the runner, Garrett Anderson, to see how far he was before he fielded this ball off the wall. Nice play by Sanders, realizing that a momentary bobble, third base coach Ron Renicky would send Anderson with 2 outs. Anderson looking and realizing now he picks up the third base coach, and Renicky forced to hold him at third.
Now it's second and third with 2 out for Molina. That's foul. Molina 4 RBIs in the postseason. Talked about that good at bat that he had back in the second. Falling in an 0-2 hole, then battling. The count ran full, and Molina hit a laser out to left field. It was caught by Bonds. Two.
What the Angel hitters are trying to do is make Jason Schmidt get the ball down. You're not going to hit that ball up there. The lighter the grip, the harder the pitch. Good fastball from Schmidt.
That's to the right side, trying to get out of play, and it will. So Schmidt, who has struck out 1 in this inning, 4 in the game, trying to put away Molina and keep the Giants out in front by 1 through 4.
The fastball up in the strike zone is not only the best pitch to throw to Molina, but it's the safest. Remember, 12 wild pitches, and almost all of them came on either splitters or breaking balls in the dirt.
There's the high fastball, ball one. To the left side for Bell. Tricky hot, turning over. A single, a double in the inning, and the Angels have stranded 4. We've played 4, 2-1 Giants in game 1. Back after this from your local Fox station. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Shinjo takes the ball high, and we're underway in the 5th. Shinjo, Lofton, and Aurelia. 9-1 and 2 in the order for the Giants, who are up by 1. Former New York Met. Rip. 1 ball, 1 strike. John Estes was the main piece of property going the other way. To New York, and Shinjo took over in center field for the first part of the season in San Francisco. But Brian Sabian, the unsigned general manager past this year, made the deal with the White Sox the 28th of July to get Kenny Lofton. And what a pickup that's been for San Francisco. 2-1. Likes the ball up. And the count 2-2.
And the key part about that deal also, Joe, was that Desi Relaford going to San Francisco along with Shinjo. And then Relaford moved on to Seattle. And the Giants got David Bell. And David Bell, as we've said earlier, has been a key piece of the Giants' success this year.
2-2. Lined into right field for a hit. Erstad over to cut it off and hold Shinjo to a leadoff single.
Joe, you said earlier what Dusty Baker told us before the game. Shinjo is playing because of the high fastball. Watch where this pitch is. High fastball. Hit to right center field.
So now the leadoff man is on, and Lofton will bat.
I think you bunt here. Dusty Baker has been very unpredictable throughout the series. Rich Aurelia has had 2 first-inning bunts. But if ever a bunt sacrifice was called for, it's right now.
Showing it late, ball 1.
Sometimes managers will put it on the first pitch, and then if they get into a favorable position, they'll take it off. We'll see if Dusty does that here.
A 1-0. That's foul. Lofton is in a spot to bunt for a sacrifice. Get the runner down to second for the first out of the inning. Lofton is approaching this at bat and these bunts like he's bunting for a hit. Instead of squaring around early, put himself in a better position to get down the bunt.
I think what Kenny's thinking is on that, why waste my speed and show the pitcher and the defense what I'm going to do too early? Because when you think about his career, he has, now he's trying to get more from Sonny Jackson, the third base coach. But Kenny has dragged bunted more than he squared to bunt. He's more sure of himself. Now Washburn trying to get him to commit too soon, but he's shown he's not going to do that.
Lofton 0 for 2 tonight. Strikeout. He's flied out. Trying to advance the runner, Shinjo at first. Now a abandoning the bunt, and the count is in the Giants' favor even more at 2-1.
Another thing, Joe, Kenny Lofton playing his first 2 months in the National League. Then with the Cleveland Indians, as you said, coming over from the White Sox, they don't bunt as much in the American League. So you don't sacrifice. But in the National League, it's imperative to be a good bunter as a leadoff batter.
Gets it down. Washburn. 1 out. Down to second is Shinjo. Sacrifice is scored 1-3 as Washburn made the play off the mound.
Gives it away late. Washburn with the pivot to throw him out.
So Lofton does his job, and now the Giants ask for damage from Aurelia and/or Kent. Aurelia so far tonight is fouled out, grounded out. Rich Aurelia's had a terrific postseason. 10 hits, 6 of which have gone for extra bases. 4 of those home runs, which ties a Giants record. 12 RBIs, which is a Giants record. Most in one postseason by a Major League shortstop. That last point, though, remember, comes with extra chances, extra rounds, extra games. As the Giants playing the division series against Atlanta in the NLCS against St. Louis.
First year of divisional play, 1969. The first year with the wild card was 1995.
One ball, no strikes. High fastball, 1-1.
You've gotten the idea that from both Schmidt and Washburn that a high fastball around the letters is not a good pitch on which to swing. They have gotten a ton of strikes on the high heater tonight. A 4-seam fastball by Washburn.
Giants lead this game by 1. 2 balls, 1 strike from Washburn. Washburn started game 1 of the division series, a no decision. Game the Yankees won 8-5. The only game the Yankees won in that series. As game 4 of the division series, Washburn made the start, got the win in the 9-5 clincher. Pickoff play back at second, and Shinjo gets back. And then game 3 of the ALCS, Washburn made the start, got a no decision. And a 2-1 Anaheim win as he went 7 innings, allowed 1 run on 6 hits. Tonight he's made a couple of mistakes. One that Bonds hit deep into the night. And Sanders later in the inning. That's a shattered bat. A fly ball into the glove of Garrett Anderson. 2 out.
That thing will go to somebody's cord of wood in the Anaheim area. Firewood. Aurelia sawed off on the trademark.
Talked about Webster, Wisconsin, where Jared Washburn grew up. That'll be a trophy from this World Series. It might find its way onto a fire warming up a cold winter night. Washburn, a guy who was taken as a little kid with his mom out to bow hunt. Here's Kent, and there's ball 1 high. Babysitter's hard to find, so mom just brought the kids with her. Born and raised and resides in Wisconsin. Fishes, hunts, shoots bow and arrow.
Owns 160 acres of forested land in Wisconsin.
He's behind on the count, 2-0. Barry Bonds waits on deck. So Washburn will, you would imagine, give Kent something to handle here on 2-0. Shinjo a leadoff hit, bunted to second, stayed there as Aurelia flied out.
Big news in San Francisco the day that Barry Bonds was moved to the 4th hole and Kent was moved into the 3rd hole. That was June 27th.
To the left side, Eckstein gets a bad hop, stays with it, and the inning is over, and Kent still has only 1 RBI in this postseason. Washburn gets around a leadoff hit halfway through game 1. 2-1 Giants. Overhead shots of Anaheim in the 2002 World Series provided by the Saturn Lightship. The team at Saturn hopes you're enjoying this unique look from high above Southern California. We thank them for joining us here tonight. Adam Kennedy, who led off in the 3rd inning with a double, leads off here in the 5th. 2-1 San Francisco. Game 1, ball 1 to Kennedy. His numbers in the postseason: .435, 5 for his last 5. The world did he hit that pitch. The home runs from game 5. 1, 2, and after not being able to get a bunt down, 3. That put Anaheim on top for good. The Angels won the game, and here they are in the World Series. Strike 2.
I think that pitch before that, in answer to your query, is he hit that pitch before it hit him.
The in-game box score is brought to you by Chevy Trucks. As you look at what Adam Kennedy has done in October, and players with 3 home runs in a postseason game. An exclusive list, and now he's struck out to start the bottom of the 5th. 5 strikeouts for Jason Schmidt.
Schmidt pitches Kennedy very tough, finishing him off with a fastball about 4 inches off the plate. That's a 2-seam fastball. There's more movement to it. It's not thrown as hard.
We gave you a quick look at the in-game box score, which is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, and the damage done on the solo home run by Troy Glaus, which came back in the 2nd. Otherwise, the Angels wasted a leadoff double in the 3rd and a leadoff base hit and a 2-out double in the 4th as Eckstein takes a strike. David 0 for 2, lined out to left and grounded out. To the right side, Kent. Nice try, base hit.
When Kent has to range this far to the right, no way to get Eckstein. He just runs too well. Nice play by Jeff. Too much to do.
Showed his athleticism for a big second baseman just to be able to get to his feet and get a throw. But Eckstein, who runs just about like that on and off the field at the start of an inning, and at the end of an inning, is on at first, a tying run with 1 out. Here's Darren Erstad. He missed a chance to tie it back in the 3rd with Kennedy at 3rd and 1 out. He struck out. Ball 1.
That could have come from Dusty Baker, could have come from Benito Santiago. But a pitch out, sometimes you talk the opposition into hitting and running. Cat and mouse game that managers play with teams that run a lot. Good hitting and running situation right here.
One ball, 1 strike as Erstad tried to level off on a 97-mile-an-hour pitch.
The reason it's good to run after a pitch out is few teams ever pitch out twice in a row. 21 steals during the regular season for Eckstein. fastball away.
Strike 2 on Erstad as Eckstein faked. Started to go and stopped. Now he's back to first with a 1-2 count at the plate on Erstad.
Throw over from Schmidt.
2 in a row.
That was a sign that Santiago got from Dusty Baker. And it's simply the thumb toward first. Looking toward Baker. Thumb toward first. We have his signs.
I would think of all the signs, it would be easy to steal. That would be the one.
That's the
You can see his whole arm turn. Now the runner goes. Eckstein comes back, and it's a 2-2 count as Santiago can't find the ball.
What that fake break does, it makes the opposition abandon their position. That's the purpose of the fake break. And sure enough, on that play, Aurelia came all the way over to cover second base. Watch the fake break, and then Aurelia move. Whole left side is open, and Erstad made contact.
Still 2-2. "71 degrees at the start of the night. Probably in the upper 60s by now. Beautiful weather. We had nothing but beautiful weather up in San Francisco during the last round. First World Series game for the Angels. "42 years they've been playing. Their first shot at a World Series right now. 2-2 pitch. Eckstein running. Line drive, base hit, and Eckstein will go to third.
Well, this time Eckstein was running, Aurelia was covering, and he almost catches the ball. Eckstein running, and watch Aurelia going towards second base and almost ran into a line drive.
So now with first and third, one out, Dave Righetti will come out and talk with Santiago, Schmidt, and the shortstop Aurelia. Darren Erstad now has hit in all 10 postseason games for the Angels as Salmon, a guy who's been around here the longest, still active on this team since 1992. Has first and third, one out. Doesn't run well, so he's a double play candidate. 7 RBIs this postseason. Popped up. Foul territory, and Snow slips. Recovers for the out. 2 out. On that slick warning track, Snow lost his footing, but was able to get up and make the catch.
Sometimes if you're wearing spikes, that warning track can be dangerous because of this. Feet comes out from under JT Snow. Look at the balance.
Salmon wishing that ball out of play. It stayed in. You could see Snow say that kind of hurt. I bet it did. Flat on his back. The 6-time Gold Glove Award winner gets a big second out here in the 5th. Garrett Anderson, 1 for 2. First and third, 2 out, strike 1.
Even though nobody else was involved, that play similar in some ways to the Pete Rose and Bob Boone tandem in the 1980 series. Game 6, Phillies and Kansas City. Ball came out of Boone's glove and into Rose's glove.
Anderson could tie it with a hit in the hole 0-2.
Right there.
That's not dirt.
No.
That he slipped on. The warning track is dirt up to the ends of the dugout. And then it becomes that rubberized material. And Snow will tiptoe across it from here on out.
Mike Scioscia could be running here, anticipating a splitter, breaking ball, something in the dirt. And if Santiago does throw down, perhaps score Kennedy. Angels had a double steal in game 2 of the LCS.
Anderson strikes out. Schmidt, his 6th of the night. And the Angels have now stranded 6. 0 for 7 tonight with runners in scoring position for the Angels. And after 5, 2-1 Giants. Glad you're with us as we move into inning number 6. Barry Bonds has homered and struck out. The Angels put the shift on. Bonds hits it right into the shift, right to Spezio, who I think made a barehanded stop after that crazy hop for the first out of the inning. What a good play that was.
We talked about Scott earlier being critical of his voice when singing for the Sand Frogs. Had this ball gotten through his glove, that's bad for the voice too. Oh, nice play. Reminiscent of that play Aurelia made in game 5 of the LDS against Atlanta. Similar bad hop.
A 3-1 put out. And it was all glove with the bare hand helping from Spezio. Here's Santiago, and there's strike 1. Santiago is singled and grounded out. 1 ball, 1 strike. You played with Scott Spezio's dad, did you not?
Surely did. Ed Spezio. And that is not only where Scott got his baseball ability, but his musical ability also. Eddie, who is present tonight, played the accordion, and I think he still does.
Not sure, but I don't think Sandfrog has an accordion in the group.
No.
It didn't look like the type of band when we listened to Scott sing earlier that would use an accordion, but you never know.
No polka playing by the Sandfrogs.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Spezio, who carries what, 5 gloves around with him?
Yeah. Yeah, infield, outfield, 2 outfield gloves, 2 infield, and a first baseman's mitt.
He used to field tennis balls that his sisters would hit at him. A 2-2 pitch, full count. But Ed, his father, was platooned a lot. And so Dad taught son how to switch hit. And it has paid off. Left-handed, he's been the most productive. Right-handed, it's been an incredible revival for him last year to this year with his production. As Santiago strikes out, 2 out. Here's Scott Spiezio talking about how it was a family affair. They helped him learn how to play defense.
He even went to lengths where he'd bring my mom out and she'd play second base so I could work on turning the double play and things like that. So my whole family was involved. My sisters played tennis. They were older sisters, and they'd work on their serves, and I'd be on the other side of the court, you know, fielding them barehanded, trying to pick them and things like that.
It wasn't exactly a yellow Wilson, a pen ball smoked at him by Bonds to start the inning. He almost came up with a barehanded try. The ball took a funny hop, and Spiezio stayed with it. Brendan Donnelly starts to loosen for the Angels out in their bullpen, just getting loose. On a cool night as we play in the 6th. A high strike, and it's 1-1. The Angels in the bottom of this inning will have Gloss, Fulmer, and Spiezio. All the scoring in the 2nd. Home runs by Bonds and Sanders. Home run by Gloss. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Reggie Sanders.
You can see the big difference in the location of this fastball compared to the location of the low one he hit out. Reggie Sanders' home run. The difference in this ball game right now.
JT Snow on deck. Two balls, 2 strikes. Into left field, a base hit. Sanders keeps the 6th inning alive for the Giants. Reggie Sanders, who was only 1 out of 16 in the NLCS, has been on base 3 times tonight. Homer, walk, and a 2-out single.
Good at bat by Reggie Sanders, fouling off tough pitches. Finally gets one about mid-thigh high and hammers it to left. Sanders a threat to run with 18 stolen bases on the year. Again, that low fastball, mid-thigh high. First one he hit was on the outside corner. That was on the inside part of the plate.
JT Snow grounded out and walked and takes ball 1. Washburn up over the 100 pitch mark for the night. Two and 0. They just signaled in the bullpen for Anaheim that Donnelly is ready if needed. David Bell, a right-handed hitter, waits on deck. So this could be the last hitter of the night for Washburn if he doesn't get JT Snow.
That's a very good point, Joe, because if JT Snow either gets a hit or walks, and Washburn doesn't get him out, at least the Giants would have a runner in scoring position. To Snow. Washburn had a tough time throwing strikes early to Snow in his last plate appearance. And again has run the count 3-0. I think he's concerned too much with Reggie Sanders. It's okay to be concerned first or second pitch, but once the count falls to 2-0, then get the batter, because it's unlikely that Sanders will be running. Washburn needs a strike, and he gets one. 3-1. Snow hits one into left center field. Well hit. Back at the track at the wall. Home run. JT Snow. An opposite field poke to make it 4-1 Giants in the 6th. Third Giant home run of the night. And this is Giant with 2 outs, a base hit by Sanders and a home run by Snow, and that's going to be the end of the night for Jared Washburn. But JT Snow was up his last at bat. We talked about how he had power the other way, how he was most likely to hit the ball the other way. And does he ever? To put the Giants up by 3. San Francisco opens it up a bit, 4-1 as we play in the 6th inning. The Angels make a call to the bullpen, and Donnelly's coming in. Washburn is out. Brendan Donnelly, the first out of the bullpen in this World Series, fires a strike to David Bell. 2 out, nobody on. Jared Washburn could get only through 5 2/3 innings. And here are the numbers for Donnelly this postseason. Certainly not indicative of what he meant to this Angel bullpen during the regular season. 46 games, a 2.17 ERA. It's guys like Donnelly that come together on this Angel team to make this run to the World Series improbable, unexpected, and very exciting around Southern California. As he misses low, Donnelly before this season had spent 10 years in the minor leagues with 9 different organizations. They have independent league players. They have guys who have been cast-offs from other organizations that have come together to win a franchise best 99 games during the regular season and get to the World Series. Bell pops it up in the air to left down the line, and Anderson acted like it was going into the seats and ends up making the catch in foul territory. That ends the top of the 6th inning. It's the former Angel JT Snow, traded to San Francisco for the '97 season here in 2002, homering in World Series Game 1.
Yeah. Go ball. Go ball. Yeah.
4-1 San Francisco through 5.5. Peter Chernin of Fox watching here in Anaheim while the Angels bat in the bottom of the 6th inning down by 3. Bud Selig, the commissioner of baseball, on hand for Game 1. The Angels have scored 20 of their 28 runs during the postseason from the 6th inning on. That's driven deep by Gloss. It's a 2-run game.
21 of 29 from the 6th inning on now as Gloss has homered twice tonight.
He had a breaking ball off Schmidt, then popped up a fastball.
'41st multi-home run game in World Series history. Now Fulmer. Ball 1.
You can see Santiago sitting away. The pitch was inside and gone.
On the outside corner, a ball and a strike on Fulmer.
Joe, in the postseason, we've talked many times about how a catcher sits outside, and when he moves his glove to the left, it's trouble generally for a pitcher. And that was the case then.
Fulmer takes ball 2.
See, Santiago sitting outside and now has to move his glove this way. When that happens, this can happen.
Three and 1. A Sprint virtual manager question. Should Dusty Baker pull Jason Schmidt? Right now, action is just stirring for the Giants out in their bullpen. Ball 4. Felix Rodriguez getting loose for the Giants in their bullpen as Schmidt just handed out his first walk of the night. And a visit from Dave Righetti as the tying run Spezio will step to the plate.
In 2 different innings, one during the LDS, one during the LCS. The clincher in both games. The Angels scored 8 runs against the Yankees on 10 hits. They scored 10 runs against the Twins on 10 hits. The home run to Gloss, and then the walk to Fulmer.
These fans and these Angels coming alive in the 6th inning. Down now by 2. Tying run at the plate for Anaheim, Spezio. Sanders takes care of out number 1. Benji Molina now with 1 on 1 out. Adam Kennedy is all of a sudden a big power threat for the Angels waiting on deck. Fultz joins Rodriguez for the Giants in their bullpen. With Kennedy on deck and Erstad lurking. Late swing, strike 1. handcuff Snow as the Giants are paying attention to Fulmer, who has stolen a base in this game.
First time JT Snow fell to his knees, he recovered to make the catch in foul territory. Good play right there to prevent an error on Schmidt.
Runner goes. Bell backs up, has to go to first, 2 out.
Unpredictable Mike Scioscia. Dusty Baker's the same way. Trailing by 2, they use the hit and run. Because of Fulmer's speed, no chance to get him at second. Bell looks and then throws to first for the sure out.
Adam Kennedy has doubled and struck out. Into right field. That's going to get down for a hit. Fulmer scores, and it's a 1-run game again. Kennedy delivers for the Angels.
A productive out by Benji Molina. Puts Brad Fulmer at second for this. It looked like a two-seam fastball off the end of the bat, but good enough to plate Fulmer.
And end the night for Jason Schmidt. The Angels able to knock out the San Francisco starter. Tying run is on, 2 out in the 6th inning, and Rodriguez coming in. Jason Schmidt knocked out in the 6th inning, and the Angels doing more of what they've done in the first 2 rounds of this postseason. Scoring late. And during the regular season, 18 comeback wins in the 7th inning or later. 2 in the postseason, 14 comebacks when they trail by 3 or more runs, 1 so far this postseason, and 27 innings this year with 5 or more runs scored. They've done that 3 times this postseason. They've had 2 10-hit innings in this postseason, and Felix Rodriguez is the first out of the bullpen for the Giants.
Hard, heavy sinkers, very few breaking balls. He will mix in a slider. Of course, the Angels have done their work.
Eckstein with a tying run at first and 2 out in the 6th. Strike 1. This World Series features 2 hard-throwing right-handers named Rodriguez. The 29-year-old Felix Rodriguez for the Giants, and the 20-year-old Francisco Rodriguez for Anaheim.
And the difference between the two, Francisco throws a lighter fastball, a little harder, and Rodriguez for the Giants, a heavier fastball. Tough to pull.
Eckstein pulls it on a line right at Aurelia. Nice catch to end the inning. 2 runs in the inning for the Angels. The first on a home run by Gloss. It's a 1-run game again as we go to the 7th in Game 1 of the World Series. Back after this from your local Fox station. It's a 4-3 game as we move to the 7th inning here in Anaheim. It's one of the features they put in here when they renovated this place.
Part of the $100 million spent 4 years ago to make this place look prettier, and they have.
Shinjo takes the ball up and in. First start in the postseason for Shinjo, and he's 1 for 2. He struck out in single facing Donnelly. He finished off the top of the 6th by getting Bell after the Snow home run. Ball comes up for Gloss. 1 out.
I think Dusty Baker going against what would be considered conventional logic by not putting Tom Goodwin in the designated hitter role. In the American League, usually you pinch hit for your designated hitter, unless, of course, the designated hitter is a guy like Greg Vaughn of Tampa Bay or somebody like that. But it was a good spot to use Goodwin. Not that Shinjo made the out, but usually in the American League, when that right-hander comes in there, a lot of managers will go for the left-hander.
As Lofton takes ball one outside. And who knows if Dusty Baker will have to worry about that next year if he's managing in Seattle, or if he's back with the Giants or somewhere else unsigned past this year. A 1-0, 2-0. In my estimation, isn't worth a whole lot. He
Yes,
is the best manager in baseball. The best.
Wow.
He gets the most out of his talent year in and year out. And worth what they pay him, which is a lot. 3 balls, no strikes. Donald.
What was that line he had about he doesn't want to break the bank, he just wants to be near it?
Yeah, Tony La Russa said, I hope Dusty Baker breaks the bank when he signs his new contract. He said, I don't want to break it, just be near it.
He will be.
With 1 out, nobody on, a 3-0 pitch is in for a strike to Lofton, who's 0 for 2 with a bunt for a sacrifice. Now the 3-1 to Lofton. Off the end of the bat, falling in a hurry. Anderson, 2 out.
What a center field Garrett Anderson has been playing throughout the playoffs. That's the 3rd terrific catch. One ended a game against the Twins, and the other going back on a ball against the Yankees. What a package he has put together as the left fielder for the Angels. Against the Yankees, off Derek Jeter, Joe Torre saying this killed them. Against the wall, against the Twins, to end the game. And now yet another one off Lofton.
With 2 out, nobody on, here is Aurelia, who takes a strike. Erstad, Salmon, and Anderson coming up for the Angels in the bottom of the inning. The 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Aurelia pops it up. Out of play. 0-2.
This is a good time for Rich Aurelia to look for an inside pitch and try to put the Giants 2 up. 2 out, nobody on, a power hitter, a guy with 37 home runs last year. Look for an inside pitch, something to yank. To combat that, you keep the ball away. Slider.
And Aurelia gets a piece to stay up there. With 2 out and nobody on. Aurelia laid off ball 1.
Trying to get Aurelia to bite at another slider. Fastball inside. Molina looking up.
Loss. The Giants go 1-2-3. The heart of the order coming up for Anaheim. Time to stretch. These fans have been doing that since it started. 4-3 San Francisco. Up above, aerial views of tonight's game. Surrounding area, courtesy of the Saturn Lightship. Saturn and its retailers. Hope you enjoy this look at Southern California. Jessica Simpson just gave us a tremendous rendition of God Bless America, now singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And Tim, I think you and I feel the same way, at least did coming into this series. This game, this style game, the score 4-3, bottom of the 7th, is indicative of, I think, what we expect this entire series. Everybody wants, who do you think's going to win? Who's going to win? Right. It's so evenly balanced that this score doesn't surprise me at all.
Sometimes the hype doesn't match the performances, and obviously that's happened tonight. And for this World Series, it seemed like it got here so quickly. Even though the Giants had 4 days off, the Angels had 5 days off, but boom, here it is, World Series time. And it didn't seem like the hype was as much as it has been in past World Series. But these are the types of games, I think you're right, that we expect to see.
Gloss has hit 2 home runs tonight. Felix Rodriguez shut down the 6th. And now we'll work to the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the 7th with the Giants up by 1. Our game summary brought to you by John Hancock. Here we are in the bottom of the 7th inning. Bonds, a home run in his first at bat in the World Series. Sanders went deep in that 2nd inning. Gloss has gone deep twice. JT Snow, more 2-out run production for the San Francisco Giants, and that's been something they've done this entire postseason. Here's Darren Erstad, who's 1 for 3. Salmon and Garrett Anderson will follow. Strike 1. 97 miles per hour from Felix Rodriguez, the former catcher. Used to catch Pedro Martinez in the Dodger system.
2 pretty good arms. Rodriguez and Martinez.
I don't know if it was harder coming in or going back to the pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike on Erstad. Game 2 is tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Kevin Napier against Russ Ortiz. Kevin Napier watching as Erstad waits for a 1-1 pitch. Same with Russ Ortiz. Too much upstairs. Good pitch. 1-2.
High heater. Erstad under it. Hitting instructor Mickey Hatcher with his rally cap on.
As far as I can see, the only one wearing a rally cap in the Angels dugout, and that's very typical of Mickey Hatcher. He marches to the beat of his own drum. A 1-2 to Darren Erstad. 1 out. Challenging fastballs upstairs out of the strike zone. 98 for the first out here in the 7th.
Carbon copy of how he got to 2 strikes. A letter high fastball. He swung under strike 2 and way under strike 3.
So back to the dugout for Erstad, and to the plate Tim Salmon. Fouled out with runners at 1st and 3rd and only 1 out back in the 5th. Hitless tonight. Ball 1. 2-0.
Dusty Baker had a great line in the paper today. He said, and this is a quote, playfully, "I ain't worried about no monkey. If it was a gorilla, it'd be different."
Said I wasn't scared of cheetah. Tarzan, but King Kong scared me. Well, Dusty. 2 balls, no strikes. Salmon waiting for that pitch. Pulled the trigger too soon. It's 2-1.
Sometimes in the late innings, a tie game, a 1-run game, to determine whether you guard the line or not, you look at the count. David Bell about 1.5 steps or 2 steps over toward third than he was before that last foul ball.
Into right field, right at Sanders. 2 down in the bottom of the 7th. Felix Rodriguez on the mound. Francisco Rodriguez in the bullpen for the Angels.
Both bullpens exceptional. I think what Santiago was saying, that if you're going to make a mistake on Garrett Anderson with 2 out and nobody on, make him hit the ball the other way. Don't allow him to pull it where he can use his body. 29 home runs on the season.
Garrett Anderson has faced Felix Rodriguez before and taken him out of the park. The Giants in the 8th inning will have Kent, Bonds, and Santiago. Bottom of the 7th, 4-3 San Francisco. They have led since the 2nd inning. 2-0. The Angels' biggest power threat, Troy Glaus, waits on deck. Like Anderson had made up his mind he was going to swing at that pitch before Rodriguez ever let it go.
Maybe an oversimplification, but when you're behind in the count to a home run hitter, keep the ball away. That's no time to jam anybody.
The count 2-1.
Outside.
And a 2-2 count. Jackie Autry, widow of Gene Autry. Gene Autry, the cowboy, and known when he was running this Angels franchise as one of, we won't say the best, but one of the best owners to work for. You've said it before, it was one of Gene Mauch's great disappointments not getting Gene Autry and the Angels to the World Series.
Gene Mauch, the manager in 1982, 1986, 2 of 3 years the Angels have reached postseason, but never to the World Series.
They are here and trailing the Giants 4-3 in the 7th. To the left side. And just out of play. Jackie Autry before the game threw out the ceremonial first pitch to Chuck Finley, who came up in that '86 season, was a rookie, and was here until 1999 when he left as a free agent for Cleveland. It's just part of the NLCS as he pitches, at least did, for St. Louis. He's now a free agent.
Sometimes when a pitcher has one pitch, a catcher will go out to the mound and try to make the hitter think that they're doing something else. 5 straight fastballs away to Garrett Anderson. We'll see what Santiago does here. If you're going to come in, now's the time to do it. Back out there.
Hard hit, but right at Kent. On a hop. And the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Angels go in order. The big bats coming up for the Giants. Kent, Bonds, and Santiago. 8th inning, 4-3. San Francisco. Giants manager Dusty Baker and his wife Melissa brought their 3-year-old son Darren with them to Anaheim. That wasn't the Matterhorn we were showing you, but little Darren, 3-year-old, can see into Disneyland from their hotel room as Jeff Kent takes a ball down and in. And Dusty was saying before the game, it's bad news when little Darren can open the window, open the curtains, and look out and see Disneyland. Constantly yanking on Dusty's arm, saying, you got to take me there. And he got to go yesterday, wanted to go back last night. 2 balls, no strikes on Jeff Kent.
Baseball had a celebration at Disneyland last night. Darren Baker wanted to go back. Tim Worrell now warming for the Giants.
Kent on 2-0, looking for something to hammer, and instead he takes ball 3 with Barry Bonds on deck. Schoenweiss getting loose, the left-hander for the Angels out in the Anaheim bullpen.
This is definitely going to be Brendan Donnelly's last batter he faces.
Kent taking, and now he'd like to take a pitch and deposit it over the wall. No home runs, 1 RBI this postseason. 0 for 3 tonight. Line drive, Eckstein drops it. Kent wasn't running, and Kent becomes the first out here in the 8th inning. Not running hard out of the box, and Eckstein had a chance to recover and get the out. Schoenweiss coming in. Barry Bonds coming up. 4-3 Giants in the 8th. Barry Bonds has a chilly at best relationship with the media. Doesn't show much emotion on the field. Dusty Baker telling us that don't worry, Barry Bonds is excited to be in this 2002 World Series.
He's a strong but sensitive man, and he wants to win very, very bad, whether he says it or not, whether he shows it or not. And sometimes I bet his insides are just exploding with happiness and fireworks on the outside. He still appears cool and stoic, but he's not. On the inside, I know he's happy.
Well, happy after his first at bat back in the 2nd inning. First chance in a World Series game, and he homered into right against Jared Washburn. Here's Schoenweiss, who is involved now in 5 postseason games, dealing with Bonds. If this is a long World Series, Scott Schoenweiss will see plenty of Barry Bonds. The only left-hander the Angels have in their bullpen, former starter. Bonds is homered, struck out, grounded out. 1 out of 7 in his career against this lefty, and the count 2-0.
Mike Krukow, my partner on about 20 games doing the Giants this year, calls this the wishbone offense. Actually, the wishbone defense.
The 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes.
And I don't think you need as dramatic a wishbone defense for Bonds against a left-handed pitcher. Reason for that, it's the same thing with J.T. Snow, who homered to left center against the left-hander Jared Washburn. Left-handed hitters are not inclined to pull left-handed pitchers as much as they do right-handed pitchers.
A 4-pitch walk, 1 on, 1 out, and that's probably it for Schoenweiss. That'll do it for the left-hander. So there's Scott Schoenweiss in his first World Series appearance. 4 pitches, a walk, and Ben Weber's coming in. Benito Santiago will be the hitter against Ben Weber. We go back in time, look at a young Benny. 5 All-Star games for Santiago, including the one in Anaheim in 1989. 17 seasons, exactly 200 career home runs, and a 3-time Gold Glove Award winner. We keep going back to what Bobby Cox told us before Game 5 of the division series. As you look at the Game 4 2-run home run that won it for the Giants in the NLCS, Bobby Cox, a person who we respect quite a bit, said that this guy, Santiago, makes the Giants.
He is the difference in the Giants past and Giants present. Ben Weber, number 77. What an interesting story. You talked about Brendan Donnelly, Scott Schoenweiss, Ben Weber, 1997-98, pitched in Taiwan. 10-month seasons over there, 100 games, and he and his wife went through 3 typhoons while he was there. One that wiped out the baseball schedule for 8 days. Different weather here.
95-mile-an-hour throw over to first. Spezio, no tag applied to Barry Bonds. Runner at first, 1 out. Giants lead 4-3. Top of the 8th inning, Game 1 of the World Series. Shattered bat. A foul ball.
You'll trade a bat for a hit any day. A bat for a foul ball, bad trade.
So Santiago works over a new one. Little smile for Reggie Sanders, who is up next as he walks back to face Weber.
You can read a lot of scouting reports about pitchers in the World Series. One of the toughest things about scouting reports is to determine whether the guy has a good move. You can see Bonds intently studying Weber. He'll run if his leg's healthy, and it appears to be. 9 of 11 during the regular season.
One ball, 1 strike. It is not beyond Barry Bonds to try and steal a base. Ooh. And Weber is anything but quick to the plate as time is called. Before the 1-1 pitch to Santiago.
Like Bonds reads pitchers in delivering the ball home, he reads them and going to first very well also.
Bonds 9 steals during the regular season. He'll move into the 500 category next season, you would imagine. Only 7 shy of 500 in his career. 613 home runs. A 1-1 on the inside corner, strike 2.
You've heard the baseball term, a pitcher gets into a hitter's kitchen. Weber has not left Benito's kitchen yet. 3 in a row.
Shattered bat on through.
Right.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Now he leaves the kitchen. Throw down to first. Close, and Bonds got back. Molina threw one through the side door. Bonds running. Left side, Eckstein makes the stop and the throw. 2 out.
When you hear scouts talk about David Eckstein, they have tagged him with the nickname of Just Enough. The dive to the right, just enough to get Santiago.
And just enough of an arm. Does not have a great arm, but throws all 5, 6.5 that he's got into every heave across the infield.
Just enough.
Now it's Reggie Sanders, runner at second, Bonds 2 out. Sanders has had a nice game. A homer, a walk, a single, a run scored. He singled with 2 out in the 6th. And scored on the home run by J.T. Snow, which chased Jared Washburn, the starter. One ball, 1 strike. Snow is on deck, as we just showed you. And the only left-hander that the Angels can bring out of their bullpen was featured for a 4-pitch walk to Bonds in the inning, and he was gone. That's Schoenweiss. A 1-1. On the other side, Dusty Baker, who changed his roster prior to the NLCS because of the left-handed hitting of the St. Louis Cardinals, has stayed with 3 lefties in his bullpen. Zerbe, Fultz, Scott Air. A 2-1 pitch, 2-2.
Ben Weber is in a new kitchen.
Now a full count.
I think they disagreed on that 2-2 pitch. I think Molina wanted the slider away, figuring he's gone in enough. 5 straight pitches in on the hands of Reggie Sanders, and now Molina wants to make sure.
Move into the bottom of the 8th. And Tim Worrell takes over, 3rd pitcher of the night for Dusty Baker and the Giants.
Ryan Sabian, the general manager of the Giants, has said Tim Worrell, the most surprising and valuable addition to his pitching staff. Look at Michael Eisner, the chairman of Disney.
Bottom of the 8th inning, and Gloss first up. He's homered twice tonight. Ball 1. Six home runs and only 7 RBIs in this postseason for Gloss. Homered in the 2nd, popped up, homered in the 6th. One ball, one strike. Back in the 2nd after Barry Bonds had homered, and then Reggie Sanders went deep. It was 2-0 until that. And then leading off in the 6th inning, it became a 2-run game. An RBI hit by Kennedy later in that inning made it 4-3, and it's still 4-3. Good pitch from Worrell. It's 1-2.
That looked like a changeup in a perfect spot.
Two and two. In case you're wondering, only 2 players have ever hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. Ruth twice, Reggie Jackson once. Struck him out looking. Tim Worrell challenged Gloss with a fastball, and that's 1 out in the bottom of the 8th.
This ball did something at the end. You could see Santiago sitting away, and the pitch is on the inside part of the plate. Players refer to that kiddingly, obviously, as the antiperspirant fastball. When those arms go up, you know you have him. Nasty pitch from Worrell.
Now it's Fulmer, who's 1 for 2. Tim Worrell, vital to the success of the Giants this year. Took over the 8th inning when Felix Rodriguez was struggling early in the year. And he has held on to that spot. Strike 1, even as Felix Rodriguez has found his rhythm again and gotten healthier as the season has worn on. Strike 1 on Fulmer, who has singled, walked, and scored once.
After that ground ball that was fouled, J.T. Snow looked over at Dusty Baker, kind of pointed toward the line. Dusty said yes, so he's a step closer. Late innings, tie game, 1-run game. Prevent the double. That's why first baseman, third baseman get toward the line.
A bit high, 1 ball, 1 strike. One and two.
I think that pitch is an intentional backup slider. Normally when a pitcher does that, see that rotation? It's a funky rotation. That is by design to left-handed batters from a right-handed pitcher. The slider, they see the slider spin, they think it's going to be inside, it stays outside.
Fulmer to the right side for Kent. Good play to his left. 2 out. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th, and Spezio will hit. Well, what did you decide? What is the most memorable moment in Major League Baseball history? Watch Game 4 of the World Series on Fox. To find out, the most memorable moments are presented by MasterCard. Don't miss it. With 2 out, nobody on, Spezio bats. Doubled back in the 4th inning, 1 for 3. Breaking ball in for strike 1. One ball, 1 strike. Troy Percival at the moment just sitting and watching. The closer for the Giants is not. Ball 2 to Spezio. 2 home runs this postseason, 12 during the regular season. Pitch from Worrell again. Same breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, left-handed hitters. This is a tough pitch to pick up. You see the spin once again, and you think that ball's got to bite you in on the hands, and it just stays on a straight path. Precision control.
A 2-2. Ripped foul. Giants, bottom of the 8th, Game 1 of the World Series. 2 out, nobody on. About 5 Giant players started to walk toward the dugout. It's a full count.
I was thinking the same thing. A step and a half toward the Giant dugout, thinking they had this pitch very, very close, but just outside.
A 2-out walk. And the tying run is on. We'll see if the Angels are going to pinch hit for Molina or send their catcher Benji Molina to the plate.
That's the one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to look back toward the dugout anticipating being pinch hit for. John Figgins is now going to be the pinch runner for Spezio. And Orlando Palmeiro, proud papa, first child just a few days ago. Baby faith. And that's what the Angel fans have in this ballpark right now, faith in the Angels.
Sean Figgins, who runs extremely well, is on at first with 2 out, the tying run, and Orlando Palmeiro with 300 during the regular season, but is hitless in this postseason. Pinch hits for Benji Molina.
This is a very interesting running situation. I don't think Mike Scioscia can afford, even though Figgins is in there to steal a base, if you run Figgins and he's thrown out, you lose Palmeiro as a pinch hitter the next inning. And Jose Molina, the catcher, who'll be in there for Benji, will have to lead off the ninth if they fail to score. So if he runs, he better make it.
0-1 high to Palmeiro. Adam Kennedy on deck. Figgins, the tying run at first with 2 out in the 8th. High again, 2-0. Orlando Palmeiro with a .300 average during the regular season. No home runs. Was 8 for 28 as a pinch hitter.
Certainly looks like Worrell is concerned about Figgins. Sometimes the absence of the stolen base can be just as disconcerting.
Palmeiro takes strike 1. Goes as Palmeiro fouls it.
With the count 3-1 and 2 outs, you don't have to have a good jump and you don't have to look back at the batter. Figgins did not have that good a jump, but he didn't look back at the hitter. The only time you do that is to pick up the ball on a hit and run. Certainly now he's going to be running, and the Giants are doing a smart thing. They're holding him on. Normally, you'd see the first baseman playing behind the runner, 3-2, 2 outs, but not here.
They'll do it again as Palmeiro fouls it into the seats. Palmeiro pops it up. Left side. Bell inning over. And Tim Worrell gets around the 2-out walk. That sends game 1 of the 2002 World Series into the 9th inning, with the visiting San Francisco Giants on top 4-3. Ben Weber is back to the hill as we move to the 9th inning. Sean Wooten takes over at first base. Bat in the number 7 spot. Jose Molina, the brother of Benji Molina, hits in the number 8 spot. As JT Snow, who has one huge swing of the bat tonight, a 2-out, 2-run home run. That's the difference right now in the 6th inning. Off the left-hander Washburn, the starter. Strike 1. JT Snow hit only 6 home runs during the entire regular season, 2 off left-handers. And he took Washburn out to make it 4-1 at the time. It's now 4-3. Strike 2 on Snow. No into left field for Anderson. One out, top of the ninth inning. Fox NFL Sunday returns tomorrow when JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy get you ready for kickoff. This week, they take a look at the faces behind the Saints' high-powered offense. Plus, the Buccaneers' defense is looking terrific. Find out how they've returned to the top of the NFL. Fox NFL Sunday returns tomorrow. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, followed by good NFL action. Most of you will see the 49ers taking on the Saints. Bucks take on the Eagles as well tomorrow. Strike one on Bell. Bell 0 for 3 tonight. Goodwin in the on-deck circle to hit for Shinjo. Strike two.
You may have noticed Ben Weber with that right here. It's part of his windup, not from the stretch. That serves two purposes. It triggers his pitches, and it also deceives the hitter.
Ball one.
Hitters do not like pitchers who appear to be jumping at them. They want a nice, smooth windup out of which they can see the ball very well. With Weber, you talk to the hitters. They don't pick the ball up well.
The 1-2. There's Tom Goodwin, who we told you was on deck to hit for Shinjo. He was 1 out of 3 while he was in the lineup for Dusty Baker. Two out.
Animated start and a nasty finish. That's animation right there, folks.
He works for Disney.
Right.
With 2 out, nobody on. Goodwin stands in. First pinch hitter of the night for Dusty Baker. Strike one. The Angels in the bottom of the ninth will have Kennedy, Eckstein, and Erstad. If anybody gets on, Tim Salmon. Weber trying to keep it a one-run game. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tom Goodwin's up there for one reason, to try to get on base and steal a base.
2-1. Eckstein has to hurry. Just enough. And we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Game 1. World Series. San Francisco on top, 4-3. They put the rally monkey to work here in the bottom of the ninth inning. And for the Angels, who trail by 1 in game 1, it will be Kennedy, Eckstein, and Erstad against Rob Nen, who has been tremendous this postseason.
Rob blew 8 saves during the season, but none in the postseason.
Kennedy ready to hop on the first pitch. Strike one.
We talked about Ben Weber and that unusual delivery. For those of you folks not familiar with Rob Nen, his delivery's not from the waist that's unusual, but from his left foot.
1 ball, 1 strike.
A little toe tap. Tap. Forward. That helps him keep that right leg back, stay behind the ball.
Strike two. The origin of the Rally Monkey, where did it start? It started on June 6th of 2000. Interleague play, and who were the Angels playing? The Giants. 3-0 Giants in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Angels came back to win 6-5. One ball, two strikes on Kennedy. That is launched, but foul.
The one drawback to Adam Kennedy's game offensively is that with two strikes, he is inclined to swing at anything. So if the Giants throw that slider, Rob Nin in particular, if he throws the slider around the shoelaces, he'll get Kennedy to chase. Only 19 walks this year.
Into right field. Reggie Sanders into the corner. One out in the bottom of the ninth. Our all-state good hands defensive play of the game, JT Snow. First and third, one out. Salmon at the plate. Back in the 5th inning. Snow fell down, got up, and made the catch for the out, and the Angels did not score. Now back to the top of the lineup for Anaheim and David Eckstein.
Jeff Kent, the second baseman for the Giants, shortening up just a bit. If Eckstein bunts, he'll try to push it to the right side of the infield. Excellent bunter.
Ball one from Nen. Game 2 tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Russ Ortiz, Kevin Appier. .91-mile-an-hour slider for strike one. Eckstein down the left field line. It's foul. The Giants won game 1 in Atlanta of the division series. They won game 1 and 2 in St. Louis in the NLCS. And they're 2 outs away from taking game 1 in Anaheim in this World Series.
2 tough outs too with Eckstein and Erstad.
Popped up behind the plate and out of play. Peter McGowan. San Francisco Giants trying to keep the bases cleared in front of Erstad, who's on deck. 1-2 pitch from Ned. 2 out. Nasty pitch from the San Francisco right-hander.
A wicked slider. Santiago wanted it there, and he got it there. Ooh. Tight, heavy, nasty. Out of the strike zone, right where Santiago wanted it.
2 out, nobody on. Erstad trying to keep it going. Strike one. A matchup of 2 wild card teams in this 2002 World Series. The Giants jumped on top. It was Barry Bonds who set the pace with a home run leading off the second. But again, production from other spots in the lineup around Bonds. Erstad, strike 2. Big home runs hit tonight for San Francisco from the 6th and 7th place hitters. None bigger than the poke by J.T. Snow with a man on and 2 out in the 6th. The Giants 1 strike away from taking game 1. Time called as a baseball is out on the field. The 0-2. Erstad gets under it into right center field. Kenny Lofton is there, and the Giants take game 1. A game 1 victory for San Francisco. Schmidt gets the win. Nen gets the save. Jared Washburn suffers a loss for the Anaheim Angels. Barry Bonds in his first World Series at bat went deep. Sanders homered, J.T. Snow homered, and the Giants have won game 1 here in Anaheim.